Shalom, this is Reb Yoseph coming to you from the land of Israel. This week is Parshas BeShalach in the weekly Torah reading, and in it, the children of Israel angrily demand from Moshe Rabbeinu that he give them food. They left Egypt very rapidly, and they had very scant provisions that they took with them. They had become exhausted. And Moshe Rabbeinu answers them. He replies, and he says that that God is going to give them food, and that you will know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has taken you out of the land of Egypt. The next day, they find this these delicate flakes on the ground. They ask, "What is it?" Literally, "Mon who?" And Moshe Rabbeinu replies, "It is the bread that God is giving you, and that you only need to go out and gather an omer of it, literally about 2 quarts, and that will be enough for you, and you gather an omer for every person in your household." So the question is that how does this manna show that God took the children of Israel out of Egypt? Okay, so the answer is that it's a 2-part answer. The first part is that an aspect of being in Egypt is that a person has to slave for their basic necessities. You're working hard and putting in overtime just to pay the rent and put groceries on the table, and you hope that you have enough to buy your baby shoes. If you're living in a situation where you just simply pleasantly gather your food in the field, and your clothing never wears out and is always clean and it fits properly, and you're able to live in a very modest residence, and it provides you protection from the elements, then you really are no longer in Egypt. Another aspect of the manna is that it showed God's presence and glory, in that you could see that this was clearly the hand of God. The deeper significance is that ultimately all of our sustenance is from the hand of God. But in the case of the manna, that was clear. It was very definitely a miracle. And it tasted very nice, and it sharpened the intellect. The Chumash says that the manna was going to be available in the morning, and also as part of their request, they were to be given meat, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them quails, a very tasty bird that would be given to them in the evening. And the commentaries discuss the issue of evening and morning, and its relevance to the intellect or being crude. The idea of morning is the morning sun, in that because they made a proper request, in that they were asking for their basic sustenance, they were given it in the morning at a time when you see the light and it reminds you of the light of the intellect. In the case of the meat, they were basically being crude and just asking for luxuries, lust for food. It were being gross and crass. As a result, it was given to them at a time when you start to see darkness. The idea is that if you have a proper request, you get it with the light of Hashem. The idea of it being on a daily basis, food is really only good for one day. You eat it, you're filled up, the next day you're hungry. That applies even if a person has $1 million, if he's locked in a room, he's going to be hungry the next day no matter what. It only lasts for one day. The manna also they were given a double portion on Friday. In other words, what happened was they went out and they gathered the manna like they always did, and it came out that they had 2 omers of manna, not just one. And in the past, when they had gathered too much manna, the next morning it was rotten and wormy. And Moshe explains to them, no, for the Shabbos, it's going to last until the next day. You can eat as much as you want now. And what remains, you can have, you'll eat on Shabbos, and it will be perfectly fine. The idea of Shabbos is that a person is supposed to take a break from his regular profession and all of the efforts and aggravation that goes into making the money to support himself, to take care of his body, his physical needs. And on Shabbos, Shabbos is to Hashem. That is the day that we get close to Hashem. And specifically, that part of it is that we take pleasure from the physical world and so to speak, the nice meals and the nice clothes, the beautiful liturgy are all testimonies and remembrances that God created the world in 6 days and he rested on the 7th, that we are doing the same thing. And the idea is that basically that when it comes to Shabbos, that Hashem not only gives us our needs for the week, but he also gives us a little bit extra so that we can perform our religious obligations and get close to heaven. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.